I woke up in a hospital room with no memory of how I got there. The last thing I remembered was having dinner with my family. Thursday night, spaghetti and meatballs, my sister Vanessa's favorite. And then, nothing. A complete blank. The doctor standing beside my bed had kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. She smiled at me gently. "Lily, do you know where you are?" "Hospital," I said. My voice sounded strange, hoarse. "What happened?" "You had an accident, a fall down the stairs at your home. You hit your head pretty hard. You've been unconscious for 2 days." 2 days. I'd lost 2 entire days. "I don't remember falling," I whispered. "That's normal with this kind of head trauma. Short-term memory loss. The memories might come back, or they might not. Your brain is protecting itself." My husband, Marcus, appeared in the doorway. His face was a mask of concern, dark circles under his eyes like he hadn't slept. He rushed to my bedside, taking my hand. "Thank God you're awake," his voice breaking. I was so worried. "What happened?" I asked him. "How did I fall?" He exchanged a look with the doctor. Something passed between them that I couldn't read. "You were coming down the stairs," Marcus said carefully. "You must have slipped. I found you at the bottom, unconscious. There was a lot of blood." I reached up, felt the bandage wrapped around my head. It hurt. Everything hurt. "Where's Emma?" I asked suddenly. "Where's my daughter?" "She's with your sister. She's fine. We didn't want her to see you like this. We'll bring her by later when you're feeling better." That made sense. Emma was only 4, too young to see her mother in a hospital bed. But something felt wrong. I couldn't put my finger on what. "The police want to talk to you," the doctor said. "Standard procedure for this kind of accident, just to make sure everything's documented properly." "Police? Why would the police care about me falling downstairs?" "They're required to investigate when someone's unconscious for this long," Marcus said quickly. "It's nothing, just protocol." A police officer came in an hour later, Detective Brooks, middle-aged, tired-looking, with a notebook he kept checking. "Mrs. Chen, I'm sorry to bother you while you're recovering. I just need to ask you a few questions about the night of your accident. I don't remember it. I don't remember falling. What's the last thing you do remember?" I thought hard. "Dinner, Thursday night. We were eating spaghetti. My family was there. Marcus, my sister Vanessa, her husband Greg. We were talking about something. I can't remember what." "And after dinner?" "Nothing. It's just blank." He wrote something down. "Your husband said he found you around 9 p.m. Dinner was at 6. That's 3 hours unaccounted for. I don't know what to tell you. I don't remember." He studied me for a long moment. "Mrs. Chen, did you and your husband have an argument that night?" "What? No, why would you ask that?" "Your injuries are consistent with a fall, but the pattern is unusual. The doctor noted some bruising on your arms, defensive bruising." My stomach tightened. "I don't understand what you're implying." Marcus stood up. "Detective, my wife fell down the stairs, that's all. If you're suggesting I had something to do with it—" "I'm not suggesting anything, Mr. Chen. I'm just asking questions." "Well, stop asking. My wife needs to rest." The detective left, but not before giving me his card. "If you remember anything, Mrs. Chen, call me." After he was gone, Marcus sat back down, taking my hand. "I'm sorry about that," he said. "The police always look for someone to blame. They can't just accept that accidents happen." "He said I had defensive bruising?" You probably put your arms out when you fell, tried to catch yourself. That's all it is. It made sense, but that feeling of wrongness was still there, gnawing at me. They kept me in the hospital for 3 more days. Tests, observations, making sure my brain was functioning properly. My family visited constantly. Marcus, Vanessa, Greg. They brought flowers, magazines, reassurances that everything was fine. But I noticed things, small things. The way they looked at each other when they thought I wasn't paying attention. The way conversations would stop abruptly when I entered a room or woke up from a nap. The way Marcus kept checking his phone, typing furiously, then deleting whatever he'd written. And the way no one would talk about that Thursday night. Every time I tried to ask what we'd discussed at dinner, what we'd talked about in those missing 3 hours, they'd redirect. Don't worry about it, Lily. Focus on getting better. It wasn't important, just family stuff. The doctor said not to stress you. We'll talk about it when you're home. But we never did. When I finally came home, everything looked the same but felt different. The stairs, where I'd supposedly fallen, looked perfectly normal. Carpeted, sturdy railing, nothing dangerous about them. I stood at the top, trying to remember, trying to feel some echo of that night. Nothing. Emma threw herself at me when she saw me, her little arms wrapping around my legs. "Mummy, you're home!" I picked her up, buried my face in her hair. She smelled of strawberry shampoo and graham crackers. "I missed you so much, baby." "I missed you too. Aunt Vanessa said you were sick. Are you better now?" "I'm better now." But I wasn't, because that night after Emma was asleep and Marcus was in the shower, I found something. I was putting away laundry in our bedroom when I noticed my jewelry box had been moved. Not much, just slightly to the left of where I always kept it. I opened it. Everything looked normal at first. My grandmother's pearls, my wedding ring, I wasn't wearing because my fingers had swollen from the IV fluids, my everyday earrings. But then I noticed the false bottom was slightly raised. I'd installed it years ago, a little secret compartment where I kept important documents, birth certificates, passport, some cash for emergencies. The compartment was empty. Everything was gone. Turn back to scene 4 when Lily opens the false bottom. Wave your hand when the compartment is empty. "Marcus, did you move things from my jewelry box?" I asked when he came out of the shower. He froze for just a second. "What? No. Why?" "My documents are gone, the ones I kept in the hidden compartment." "Hidden compartment? I didn't even know you had one." "I've had it for 5 years." "Well, I didn't touch it. Maybe you moved them before your accident and don't remember." "Maybe. The doctor had said my memory might be unreliable. But I don't think so. I was meticulous about that compartment. I checked it monthly, made sure everything was there." "What documents are missing?" Marcus asked. "Our passports, Emma's birth certificate, some cash. I'm sure they'll turn up. You probably put them somewhere safe and forgot. Your memory's been affected, Lily. You need to accept that." He said it kindly, but there was something underneath, something that made me feel like I was being managed rather than helped. The headaches started a week after I came home. Terrible, splitting headaches that made lights too bright and sounds too loud. The doctor had warned me about post-concussion symptoms, so I tried not to worry. Marcus was very attentive. He made sure I took my medication. Pills for the pain, pills for the swelling, pills to help me sleep. I took them because I trusted him, because he was my husband and I was in pain. But the pills made me foggy, made my thoughts slow and thick, made the days blur together. "You need to rest," Marcus would say. "Doctor's orders." So I rested, slept most of the day. When I was awake, I felt disconnected from reality, like I was watching my life through frosted glass. Emma came over frequently. She'd sit with me, bring soup, help with Emma. "How are you feeling?" she'd ask. "Tired, really tired." "That's normal. Your brain is healing. You just need time." But it had been 2 weeks. Shouldn't I be feeling better now? One afternoon, while Marcus was at work and Vanessa was supposed to be watching Emma, I decided to do something I'd been putting off. I stopped taking the pills. I didn't tell anyone, I just stopped, pretended to swallow them, then threw them into napkins and threw them away. Within 2 days, the fog started lifting. But then I noticed the false bottom was slightly raised. I'd installed it years ago, a little secret compartment where I kept important documents, birth certificates, passport, some cash for emergencies. The compartment was empty. Everything was gone. "Marcus, did you move things from my jewelry box?" I asked when he came out of the shower. He froze for just a second. "What? No. Why?" "My documents are gone. The ones I kept in the hidden compartment." "Hidden compartment? I didn't even know you had one. I've had it for 5 years." "Well, I didn't touch it. Maybe you moved them before your accident and don't remember." "Maybe." The doctor had said my memory might be unreliable, but I didn't think so. I was meticulous about that compartment. I checked it monthly, made sure everything was there. "What documents are missing?" Marcus asked. "Our passports, Emma's birth certificate, some cash." "I'm sure they'll turn up. You probably put them somewhere safe and forgot. Your memory's been affected, Lily. You need to accept that." He said it kindly, but there was something underneath, something that made me feel like I was being managed rather than helped. The headaches started a week after I came home. Terrible, splitting headaches that made lights too bright and sounds too loud. The doctor had warned me about post-concussion symptoms, so I tried not to worry. Marcus was very attentive. He made sure I took my medication, pills for the pain, pills for the swelling, pills to help me sleep. I took them because I trusted him, because he was my husband and I was in pain. But the pills made me foggy, made my thoughts slow and thick, made the days blur together. "You need to rest," Marcus would say. "Doctor's orders." So I rested, slept most of the day. When I was awake, I felt disconnected from reality, like I was watching my life through frosted glass. Vanessa came over frequently. She'd sit with me, bring soup, help with Emma. "How are you feeling?" she'd ask. "Tired, really tired." "That's normal. Your brain is healing. You just need time." But it had been 2 weeks. Shouldn't I be feeling better by now? One afternoon, while Marcus was at work and Vanessa was supposed to be watching Emma, I decided to do something I'd been putting off. I stopped taking the pills. I didn't tell anyone, I just stopped, pretended to swallow them, then spit them into napkins and threw them away. Within 2 days, the fog started lifting. My thoughts became clearer. The world came back into focus, and I started remembering things. Not the night of the accident, not yet, but other things, things from before. I remembered Marcus on the phone late at night, speaking in hushed, urgent tones. I'd asked who he was talking to, and he'd said, "work," but his company didn't have clients in different time zones. I remembered Vanessa and Greg having a terrible argument in our driveway. I'd heard her crying, heard him say something about fixing this and no other choice. When I'd asked her about it later, she'd said it was nothing. I remembered finding a large sum of cash hidden in Marcus's car, $20,000, rubber-banded and tucked under the spare tire. When I'd asked about it, he got angry, said it was for a surprise for me, that I'd ruined it by snooping. Little things, weird things, things I'd dismissed at the time because I trusted my family, but now, with clearer eyes, they felt sinister. I started investigating, carefully, quietly, while pretending I was still in my medicated fog. I went through Marcus's computer when he was at work. His password was Emma's birthday. I'd set it up for him years ago and he'd never changed it. Most of his files were normal. Work documents, photos, emails about ordinary things. But buried in a folder labeled Tax Documents 2019, I found something else. Photos of a man I didn't recognize. Surveillance photos taken from a distance. The man getting into a car. The man entering a building. The man at what looked like a bar. Who was this? Why did Marcus have surveillance photos of a stranger? I checked the metadata. The photos were taken in October, 2 months before my accident. I dug deeper, found an encrypted folder. I couldn't open it, but the fact that it existed at all was suspicious. I checked his browser history. Most of it was cleared, but he'd missed some. Searches for memory loss drugs. How long does Rohypnol stay in system? Inducing amnesia. My blood ran cold. I needed help, but who could I trust? Not Marcus, not Vanessa. She was in on something, I was sure of it. I thought about calling Detective Brooks, but what would I tell him? That my husband was Googling amnesia drugs? That wasn't proof of anything. I needed more. So I kept digging. I went through our financial records, found large cash withdrawals over the past 6 months. 5,000 here, 10,000 there, always in cash, always from Marcus's personal account. Where was the money going? I checked his phone when he was asleep. He'd changed his password. It wasn't Emma's birthday anymore. But I watched him unlock it one morning and memorized the pattern. His texts were mostly normal, but there was a conversation with Vanessa that made my stomach drop. Marcus, she's starting to ask questions. Vanessa, keep her on the meds. She can't remember. Marcus, what if she stops taking them? Vanessa, she won't, but if she does, we'll figure it out. Marcus, this is getting out of hand. Vanessa, it's too late to back out now. We're all in this. All in what? What were they hiding? I decided to go back to the beginning, to that Thursday night I couldn't remember. I knew we'd had dinner at 6. I knew my family had been there. I knew I'd fallen, or been pushed, around 9. What happened in those 3 hours? I closed my eyes, tried to force the memories, but there was nothing, just a black wall I couldn't break through. Unless the memories were there, just suppressed, by drugs, by trauma, by whatever they'd done to me. I Googled how to recover suppressed memories, found articles about therapy, hypnosis, EMDR, but I couldn't go to therapy without Marcus finding out, and I didn't have time for a lengthy recovery process. I needed to remember now. I went back to the house that night in my mind, walked through it step by step. We ate dinner, spaghetti, Vanessa's favorite. We sat at the dining room table, me, Marcus, Vanessa, Greg. What did we talk about? I concentrated hard, pushed past the fog, and something flickered, a fragment. Vanessa was upset, crying. No, not crying, scared. She looked terrified. Why? I pushed harder. My head started to pound, but I didn't stop. Greg was angry, pacing, saying something about no way out. Marcus was calm, too calm, trying to quiet everyone down. And then a knock at the door. Who was at the door? I couldn't remember. The memory dissolved like smoke. But it was progress. The wall was cracking. The next day, I did something risky. I went to our neighbor's house, Mrs. Patterson, an elderly woman who'd lived next door for 20 years. She was a busybody, always watching the street, always knowing everyone's business. "Lily, how are you feeling, dear? Marcus said you had a terrible fall." "I'm better, thank you. Mrs. Patterson, can I ask you something? Do you remember that Thursday night about 3 weeks ago?" "Thursday? Which Thursday?" "The night I fell. Did you see anything unusual? Anyone coming to our house?" She thought about it. Well, I did see a car I didn't recognize. Around 7, I think. Dark blue sedan. Someone got out, went to your door. My heart started racing. Do you remember what they looked like? Not really. I was watching my shows, but I remember thinking it was odd because you usually don't have visitors on weeknights. Did you see them leave? No, dear. I went to bed around 8:30. Why do you ask? Just trying to piece things together. Thank you, Mrs. Patterson. Someone had come to our house that night. Someone in a dark blue sedan. Who? I started having nightmares. Not dreams, memories disguised as dreams. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, fragments echoing in my head. A man's voice, angry, shouting. Vanessa screaming. A loud noise, like something breaking. Or no, not breaking. A gunshot. I sat up in bed, my heart hammering. Had I heard a gunshot that night? Marcus stirred beside me. You okay? Just a nightmare. About the fall? Yeah. He pulled me close. It's okay, you're safe now. But I wasn't safe. I was living with people who were lying to me, who were drugging me, who were hiding something terrible, and I was starting to remember what it was. The next fragment came 2 days later. I was making lunch when it hit me like a physical blow. Blood. There was blood on the floor. Not my blood, someone else's. The man from the door. He was on our living room floor, not moving, and Marcus was standing over him holding something. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. I dropped the knife I was holding. It clattered into the sink. Marcus had killed someone. That's what they were hiding. That's why they drugged me, stolen my documents, made me forget. I'd witnessed a murder. I needed proof. If I went to the police with just recovered memories, they'd never believe me. They'd think I was crazy, that my head injury had made me delusional. I needed physical evidence. That night, after everyone was asleep, I went into the garage. Our house was old, with hardwood floors throughout. If someone had been killed in our living room, there'd be blood. Lots of blood. But when I looked at the living room floor now, it was clean. They must have scrubbed it, replaced the boards, something. Unless they'd missed something. I got a flashlight and went into the basement, directly under the living room. The basement ceiling was unfinished, exposed beams and pipes and electrical wiring. I shined the light upward, looking for anything unusual. And there it was. Between 2 floor joists, a dark stain on the wood, seeping through from above. Blood. It had to be blood. I took photos with my phone. Then I scraped a sample from the wood into a plastic bag. Evidence. Now I needed to figure out who the dead man was. I went through Marcus's computer again. This time I found the encrypted folder password written on a post-it note stuck inside his desk drawer. Amateur mistake. He'd always been terrible at cybersecurity. I opened the folder. Inside were financial documents, bank statements from an offshore account I didn't know existed. Transactions going back years, hundreds of thousands of dollars moving in and out, and emails between Marcus and someone named Jay Wilson. I read through them, my hands shaking. Marcus had been involved in something illegal, embezzlement from what I could piece together. He'd been stealing money from his company for years, moving it through shell corporations, hiding it offshore. Jay Wilson was his partner. They'd been splitting everything 50-50, until Wilson wanted out. The last email, dated the day before that Thursday, was chilling. Wilson, I'm done. I'm going to the cops. I can't live with this anymore. Marcus, don't be stupid. We'll both go to prison. Wilson, I don't care. I'm turning myself in tomorrow. If you're smart, you'll do the same. Marcus, we need to talk about this face to face. Come to my house this Thursday evening, 7 p.m. We'll figure something out. Wilson had come to our house that night, and he'd never left. Now I had everything I needed: photos of the blood, financial records showing motive, emails setting up the meeting. But I needed to be smart about this. If I went to the police and Marcus found out, I'd be in danger. If he'd killed once to protect his secret, he'd kill again. I needed an insurance policy. I uploaded all the evidence to a cloud storage account Marcus didn't know about. Then I sent an email to Detective Brooks with a scheduled delivery date, 3 days from now. If anything happened to me in those 3 days, the email would send automatically. Then I made a decision. I was going to confront them, all of them, get them to confess on record. I bought a small recording device online, the kind that looks like a pen. When it arrived, I tested it. Perfect audio quality. Now I just needed to get them talking. I waited for Saturday. Marcus didn't work weekends. Vanessa and Greg usually came over for dinner. I pretended to take my pills that morning, made a show of being groggy and compliant. "How are you feeling?" "Okay, tired. My head still hurts." "Maybe you should rest today. I can handle Emma." "No, I want to see Vanessa. I miss her." He looked uncomfortable but didn't argue. Vanessa and Greg arrived at 6. I'd made lasagna, comfort food, nothing threatening. We ate and made small talk about Emma's preschool, about Greg's job, about the weather. Normal family dinner conversation. Then, when Emma was watching TV in the other room, I said, "I've been having memories." The table went silent. "Memories of what?" Vanessa asked carefully. "That Thursday night, the night I fell." Marcus set down his fork. "Lily, the doctor said your memories might not be reliable." "I remember a man coming to the door," I continued. "A man in a dark blue sedan. I remember him in our living room, and I remember blood." Vanessa went white. Greg stared at his plate. "I remember Marcus standing over him, and I remember all of you talking about what to do." "You're confused," Marcus said. His voice was gentle, but his eyes were hard. "Your head injury." "I found the blood in the basement," I said. "I found the financial records, the emails with Wilson. I know what happened." The silence was deafening. Then Marcus laughed. Actually laughed. "Lily, this is insane. You think I killed someone?" "I don't think. I know. James Wilson came here to tell you he was going to the police. You couldn't let that happen, so you shot him." "You can't prove any of this." "Actually, I can. I have photos of the blood. I have your emails. I have your financial records showing embezzlement, and I have a recording of this conversation." I pulled out the pen recorder, set it on the table. Marcus's expression changed. The false kindness vanished, replaced by something cold. "You're making a big mistake," he said quietly. "The only mistake I made was trusting you." Vanessa started crying. "Lily, please, you don't understand. It was an accident. Marcus didn't mean to." "Shut up, Vanessa," Greg snapped. "No, she needs to know." Vanessa turned to me, tears streaming down her face. "Wilson was threatening to turn us all in, not just Marcus. Me and Greg, too. We were part of it. We helped move the money. If Marcus went down, we all went down." "So you helped him cover up a murder." "It wasn't supposed to happen like that. Wilson came here angry, yelling. He pulled a gun. Marcus was defending himself." "Defending himself? Then why not call the police? Why hide the body? Why drug me and make me forget?" "Because you saw everything," Marcus said. "You walked in right after it happened. You started screaming, trying to call 911. We couldn't let you do that. So you knocked me out, made it look like I fell down the stairs, and you've been drugging me ever since to keep me compliant."
"We were protecting you," Vanessa sobbed. "If you went to the police, you'd be an accessory. We all would have gone to prison. You were protecting yourselves." Marcus stood up. "This conversation is over. Give me the recorder." "No." "Marcus, I'm not asking. And I'm not giving it to you." He moved toward me. Greg stood too, blocking my exit. I grabbed my phone. "I've already sent everything to the police. The evidence, the recording of this conversation. It's scheduled to send in 3 days. If anything happens to me, they'll get it immediately." Marcus froze. "You're bluffing. Try me." We stood there in a Mexican standoff. My family, the people I'd trusted most in the world, staring at me like the enemy. "What do you want?" Marcus finally asked. "I want you to turn yourself in. All of you. I'll testify that Wilson pulled the gun first, that it was self-defense. But the cover-up, the drugging, the embezzlement, that all has to come out. We'll go to prison. You should go to prison. You killed a man and tried to erase my memory to cover it up. And Emma? What happens to her when her father's in prison?" That stopped me. "Emma. God, Emma." "She'll stay with me," I said. "I'm her mother." "You think they'll let you keep her when you were part of all this? When you knew about the embezzlement and didn't report it?" She was right. I hadn't known about the embezzlement, but proving that would be impossible. I'd look complicit. "What are you suggesting?" "We run," Marcus said. "All of us. We have enough money. We can disappear. Start over somewhere else." "I'm not running." "Then we all go down." "Is that what you want? Emma growing up in foster care? Because that's what'll happen." I looked at my daughter, innocent and happy watching her cartoons, completely unaware that her family was imploding. What was the right choice? Turn them in and destroy Emma's life? Run and become a fugitive? Stay and continue living a lie? I made my decision. "I'm calling Detective Brooks," I said. "I'm telling him everything. You can all make your own choices about what to do." I picked up my phone. Marcus lunged at me. I hadn't expected it, hadn't thought he'd actually attack me. He grabbed my wrist, twisted it until I dropped the phone. Then he shoved me backward. I hit the dining room wall hard, stars exploding in my vision. "I tried to be reasonable," he said. His voice was different now, not the man I'd married, someone else entirely. Greg grabbed my arms, held me while Marcus picked up my phone. "Let me go!" I screamed. Emma appeared in the doorway. "Mommy?" "Emma, go back to the living room," Vanessa said, trying to sound calm, but her voice was shaking. "Why is Daddy hurting Mommy?" "It's just a game, sweetie. Go watch your show." "No, stop hurting my mommy." The sound of my daughter crying broke something in me. I stomped on Greg's foot as hard as I could. He yelped and his grip loosened. I wrenched free, grabbed the recorder off the table, and ran for the front door. Marcus caught me before I got there, tackled me from behind. We went down hard on the hardwood floor. "I didn't want to do this," he hissed in my ear, "but you're not leaving me any choice." He was going to kill me, right here, right now, in front of our daughter. I'd underestimated how far he'd go. Then the front door burst open. Detective Brooks stood there, gun drawn, 3 uniformed officers behind him. "Police! Nobody move!" Marcus froze on top of me. "Get off her, hands where I can see them." Marcus slowly stood up, raising his hands. The officers swarmed in, separating us, securing everyone. Detective Brooks helped me to my feet. "You okay, Mrs. Chen?" I nodded, unable to speak. "How—" I finally managed. "How did you know?" "You sent me an email 2 hours ago. Evidence of embezzlement and murder.
said if you didn't cancel the meeting by 7 p.m. to come immediately. I hadn't sent that email. I'd scheduled it for 3 days from now. But then I saw Vanessa, handcuffed, tears streaming down her face, and I understood. She'd done it. She'd logged into my account and sent the email early. She'd saved me. "We found Wilson's body," he said, "buried in Thornton Park. An anonymous tip came in yesterday. That's why I was already investigating your husband when your email arrived." Anonymous tip? Someone who knew where the body was. Someone with insider knowledge. Vanessa. She'd been planning this, getting ahead of it. Maybe she'd been waiting for me to remember, to piece it together. Maybe she'd wanted me to. What was the right choice? Turn them in and destroy Emma's life? Run and become a fugitive? Stay and continue living a lie? The trial was 8 months later. Marcus pleaded not guilty, claimed Wilson had broken into our house, that he'd shot him in self-defense, that everything afterward was panic and poor judgment. The jury didn't buy it. The emails showed premeditation. The forensics showed Wilson had been shot in the back, not exactly self-defense positioning, and my testimony, combined with Vanessa's, sealed it. Marcus was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 25 years to life. Greg got 15 years for being an accessory after the fact. Vanessa pleaded guilty, cooperated fully, and got 8 years. She'd be eligible for parole in 5. I testified at all 3 trials, told everything I remembered, everything I'd pieced together, everything they'd done to me. It was brutal. Marcus's lawyer tried to discredit me, suggested my memories were false, that I was mentally unstable from the head injury. But the physical evidence backed me up. The blood in the basement, the financial records, the drugs in my system when I was hospitalized. Most damning of all was the recorded conversation from that Saturday dinner. My voice asking questions, their voices admitting everything. The recording device was running when Marcus attacked me. The sounds of violence, of Emma crying, of me screaming. The jury heard all of it. Several of them were crying when it played. Recovery was long and complicated. The drugs they'd been giving me had messed with my brain chemistry. It took months to fully clear my system, to get my memory and cognition back to normal. I went to therapy twice a week. PTSD from the trauma, trust issues from the betrayal, grief over losing my entire family in one night. "You didn't lose them," my therapist said. "You never had them, not really. They were willing to destroy you to protect themselves. That's not family." She was right, but it still hurt. Emma struggled too. She'd seen her father attack her mother, seen police arrest everyone she loved. At 4 years old, she couldn't process any of it. We went to family therapy together, played games designed to rebuild trust. I reassured her over and over that none of it was her fault, that I loved her, that we'd be okay. I wasn't sure I believed it, but I said it anyway. I went back to the house once, after the trials, after Marcus was sentenced. It was listed for sale now. I needed to get our things, sort through what to keep and what to donate. I stood in the living room where Wilson had died, where Marcus had shot him, where I'd witnessed a murder and had my memory stolen. The floors had been replaced, but I could still see it. The blood, the body, the moment everything changed. I loved Marcus, really truly loved him. We'd built a life together, had a daughter together, made plans for the future. And he'd thrown it all away, for money, for pride, for the inability to face consequences. And when I'd threatened to expose him, he'd tried to kill me. How had I not seen it? How had I lived with a man capable of murder and never noticed? "People are good at hiding," my therapist said, "and you wanted to believe the best of him. That's not a flaw. That's love. He took advantage of that." Maybe, but I'd never make that mistake again. We moved. New house, new city, fresh start. Emma started kindergarten, made new friends. Slowly, the nightmares lessened. Slowly, she started to seem like a normal kid again instead of a traumatized one. I went back to work. I'd been an accountant before Emma was born, specialized in forensic accounting. The irony wasn't lost on me. My skills could have caught Marcus's embezzlement years ago if I'd been paying attention. I threw myself into my work, helped companies find fraud, track stolen money, catch people like Marcus before they destroyed lives. It felt good, purposeful, like I was using my trauma for something positive. Vanessa wrote to me from prison. I almost didn't open the letter, but curiosity won. Dear Lily, I know I have no right to ask for your forgiveness. What we did to you was unforgivable. I helped Marcus drug you, gaslight you, steal your memories. I watched him hurt you and did nothing. But I want you to know why I finally acted, why I sent that email early, why I've cooperated fully with the investigation. When I saw Marcus tackle you that night, when I saw Emma crying, something broke in me. I realized we'd become monsters, all of us. We'd justified it step by step. The embezzlement wasn't hurting anyone. Wilson was going to destroy all of us. You were better off not remembering. But we were wrong, so wrong. And I was watching it happen again, watching Marcus prepare to kill you to protect himself. I couldn't let that happen, even if it meant going to prison, even if it meant losing everything. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I don't deserve that. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. And I hope you and Emma have a good life. A life free from us and the poison we brought into your world. Your sister, Vanessa. I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer and didn't respond. Maybe someday I'd forgive her. Maybe someday I'd be able to separate the woman who drugged me from the woman who saved my life. But not today. Emma asked about her father sometimes. Where's Daddy? He's away, baby. He made some bad choices and he has to deal with the consequences. When is he coming home? Not for a long time. Maybe never. Did he stop loving us? That question broke my heart. No, sweetheart, he loves you very much, but sometimes people make mistakes, really big mistakes, and those mistakes have consequences. What mistake did he make? How do you explain murder to a 6-year-old? He hurt someone very badly, and then he lied about it, and the lying made everything worse. She thought about that. Is that why you tell me not to lie? Yes, lies always get bigger. They grow and grow until they destroy everything. She nodded solemnly. I won't lie, Mommy, I promise. I know, baby, you're a good girl. 2 years after the trial, I got a call from Detective Brooks. Mrs. Chen, sorry, Miss Patel, I'd gone back to my maiden name. I wanted to update you. Your ex-husband was attacked in prison yesterday. My stomach dropped. Is he dead? No, he's in critical condition but stable. Someone stabbed him during a fight in the yard. I didn't know how to feel. Relief? Guilt? Nothing? Do they know who did it? Another inmate. Marcus testified against some people during his trial. The accountant who helped him set up the offshore accounts, the lawyer who filed the fake documents. One of them had connections inside. Someone wanted revenge. Karma, maybe. Or just prison being prison. Thank you for telling me. There's something else. During the investigation of the attack, they found something in Marcus's cell. Letters. Dozens of them. Written to you. I never got any. He never sent them, just kept them in his bunk. We read them, standard procedure. He's been writing to you for 2 years, apologizing, explaining, begging for forgiveness. I don't want them. I figured, but I thought you should know. He claims he thinks about you and Emma every day, that he regrets everything. He should regret it. He destroyed our family. He tried to kill me. I know. I thought you deserved to know. Some victims need to hear the apology, even if they don't accept it. I thanked him and hung up. Marcus was sorry. Great, that changed nothing. Emma would grow up without a father, I'd spend the rest of my life with trust issues, and James Wilson was still dead, buried in Thornton Park for months before anyone found him. Sorry didn't fix any of that. I started dating again, carefully, slowly. His name was David. We met at a work conference. He was a fraud investigator for an insurance company. We bonded over war stories about catching embezzlers. He knew about my past. I told him everything on our third date, figuring if it was going to scare him off, better to know early. "That's heavy," he said, when I finished. "I'm sorry you went through that." "Thank you. Can I ask you something?" "Sure. Do you regret investigating? Part of me thinks, if you'd just stayed in the fog, taken the pills, accepted the story they gave you, you'd still have your family. Your daughter would have her father." I'd asked myself that question 1,000 times. "I regret that it happened," I said. "I regret that Marcus made the choices he made. But investigating? Uncovering the truth? No, I don't regret that. Because living a lie isn't living, and eventually the truth always comes out. Better I controlled how and when." He nodded. "That makes sense. Does it scare you that I come with all this baggage?" "A little," he admitted. "But everyone has baggage. Yours is just more dramatic than most." I laughed. It felt good to laugh. We took it slow, really slow. I needed to trust again, and trust couldn't be rushed. But 6 months later, when he met Emma and she immediately loved him, when he was patient with my panic attacks and my trust issues and my need to control every situation, I started to think maybe I could do this. Maybe I could risk loving someone again. Vanessa got out on parole after 5 years. She called me. I almost didn't answer. "Lily, it's me." "I know." "Can we talk? In person? I understand if you don't want to, but I'd really like to see you." I thought about it for a long time. "Okay, but not at my house, and Emma doesn't know anything about this. If you're going to be in her life again, it has to be gradual." "Of course, whatever you want." We met at a coffee shop, neutral territory. Vanessa looked older, prison had aged her, but she also looked clearer somehow, more present. "Thank you for agreeing to see me," she said. "I'm not promising anything, I just wanted to hear what you have to say." "I know, I've spent 5 years thinking about what I did. To you, to Emma, to Wilson. I can't undo any of it, but I want you to know I've changed, really changed. I've been in therapy, I've taken accountability. I know what we did was monstrous. You helped your husband drug me, you watched me suffer and did nothing." I know, and I'm so sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't forgive myself. But I want to try to make amends somehow." "How? You can't give me back the memories you stole. You can't give Emma back her innocence. You can't bring Wilson back to life." "No, but I can be honest now. I can tell you everything, answer any questions you have. I can testify again if needed, and I can stay away if that's what you want." I looked at her, this woman who was my sister but also a stranger. We'd shared a childhood, a family, a life, and then she'd betrayed me in the worst possible way. Could I ever trust her again? "I need time," I said. I can't just welcome you back like nothing happened." "I understand. But maybe eventually we can talk, build something new. Not what we had before, that's gone, but something." She started crying. Thank you for even considering it." We finished our coffee in awkward silence. As I left, she called out, "Lily, how's Emma?" I paused. "She's good. She's strong. She's going to be okay." "I'm glad. Tell her Aunt Vanessa loves her." I didn't respond. I just walked to my car and drove home. Maybe someday I'd tell Emma that. Maybe someday we'd rebuild some version of a relationship. But not today. 5 years later, I'm 38 years old. Emma is 11. She's smart, funny, resilient. She knows the basics of what happened, that her father made terrible choices and hurt people, that her aunt made mistakes too but tried to make them right. She asks if she can write to Marcus. I've been putting it off, but I know I can't forever. He's her father, regardless of what he did. She deserves to make her own choices about that relationship. Okay, I tell her, but I read the letters first, and if he says anything inappropriate, anything that upsets you, we stop immediately. Deal. She writes him a simple letter, telling him about school, her friends, the soccer team she's on. Nothing deep, just connection. He writes back, a letter so full of love and regret it makes me cry, telling her how proud he is, how sorry he is that he can't be there, how he thinks about her every day. I let Emma read it. She cries too. Can we visit him? She asks. That's harder. Do I want my daughter in a prison visiting room? Do I want Marcus back in our lives in any capacity? But I also remember what my therapist said. Emma deserves to know her father, even if he's flawed. You get to set boundaries, but don't let your pain make her decisions for her. We'll talk about it when you're older, when you can really understand what it means. She nods, accepting that. David and I got married last year. Small ceremony, just close friends. Emma was our flower girl. She was thrilled to have a real dad again. Her words, not mine. David has been amazing with her, patient and kind and present in all the ways Marcus never was. We don't talk about Marcus much. David knows the whole story, but he doesn't try to replace Emma's father. He's just there. Solid, steady, trustworthy. Everything I need after years of betrayal. Vanessa came to the wedding. We'd been slowly rebuilding our relationship. She's in therapy, working a normal job, trying to put her life back together. She'll never be the sister I had before, but she's becoming someone I can trust, slowly. Greg is still in prison. He doesn't write, doesn't call. I think he blames me for everything. If I'd just stayed quiet, if I'd just taken the pills, none of this would have happened. He's probably right, but I don't regret it. I think about that night sometimes, the night I woke up in the hospital with no memory. I think about how easily it could have gone the other way, how I could have just accepted their story, stayed on the drugs, lived in the fog forever. Would that have been easier? Maybe. But it wouldn't have been living. Not really. The truth is hard. It's painful. It tears apart everything you thought you knew. But it's also freeing. I know who I am now, not the woman who blindly trusted, not the woman who ignored red flags because she wanted to believe the best in people. I'm the woman who survived, who fought back, who refused to let them steal her mind along with her memories. And that woman is stronger than I ever imagined I could be. Last week, Emma asked me something. Mom, do you ever wish you'd never remembered? That you'd just believed what they told you? It's the question I've asked myself 1,000 times. Sometimes, I admitted, life would be simpler. You'd have your dad, I'd have my sister. We'd be a family. But it wouldn't be real. No, it wouldn't be real. It would be a lie. Do you think Dad knew it was wrong when he did it? I think he knew. I think he just convinced himself it was justified, that protecting his secret was worth destroying everything else. That's sad. Yeah, baby, it is. She thought about it. I'm glad you remembered, even if it's hard, because now we know the truth, and we can deal with it. She's 11 years old and already wiser than most adults. Me too, I said. Me too. I'm not going to lie and say everything's perfect now, that I'm healed and whole and the trauma doesn't affect me. I still have trust issues. I still question everyone's motives. I still have nightmares where I'm back in that hospital room, waking up with missing memories, and this time I can't find my way back to the truth. But I have a daughter who's thriving.
a husband who's patient and kind, a career I love, a life I've built on truth instead of lies. And I have myself, the self I discovered when everything else was stripped away. Marcus took a lot from me, my innocence, my trust, my sense of safety. But he didn't take everything. He didn't take my strength, my determination, my refusal to be a victim. Those things were always mine. I just didn't know it until I had to fight for them. If you're reading this and you're in a situation where something feels wrong, where people are telling you one thing but your instincts are screaming another, where you're being told to just trust them, just accept it, just stop asking questions, listen to your instincts. Your brain is trying to protect you. Your gut knows something's wrong, even if you can't articulate what it is. Don't let anyone make you doubt your own mind. Don't let anyone steal your reality, because once they convince you that you can't trust yourself, they can make you believe anything. And that's when you lose everything. I almost lost everything. My memories, my sanity, my life. But I fought back. I questioned. I investigated. I refused to accept the story they were selling. And I survived. You can too. Trust yourself, always. Your mind is the only thing that's truly yours. Don't let anyone take it from you. My name is Lily Patel. I'm a survivor, and this is my story.